Good morning. It's Friday, May 28th, 2021, and I'm Pete Seiferth, one of the pastors at Northminster Presbyterian Church, and we're celebrating graduates today. At least I am, and we are in my family, because my oldest son, Caden, is graduating today from high school. This isn't my cap. It's not my time to graduate, although it feels like I just graduated like 28 years ago or something like that. But anyway, congratulations to the class of 2021. You've made it. You've accomplished great feats, and you have also many things that lay ahead. God has great plans for you, and God will equip you to do those things. If I were to give any solicited advice today, woohoo, it would be to celebrate today and the accomplishments you have, but also to know that God will be with you in the future. In 2 Corinthians, which is one of our readings in chapter 4 for today's daily lectionary, there is a wonderful challenge that the Apostle Paul gives to us about containing and carrying forth God's mercy with confidence. In chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "Therefore, since we have God's mercy, we have this ministry. Do not lose heart." You know, sometimes it's easy to lose heart. We think that we've accomplished something, but then we're not quite sure if we have what it takes to continue. And God is saying, yes, you do. So continuing on, it says, "We renounce our secret and shameful ways. On the contrary, we move forward in the truth. And we commend ourselves and everyone to the sight of God." It says, "Even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing." God intends for all those to know the knowledge of his son, Jesus Christ. But the fact is that there are going to be some who don't know this and don't realize it. Paul explains it this way in verse 4, that the God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. For what we preach is not ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake. For God said, "Let light shine out of darkness," made this light to shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. And then verse 7, "We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." I have this little jar here at our house, and this is special to us because it reminds us of my wife Lori's grandmother. And something terrible happened to it one day. It fell off the shelf, and you can see that it's full of cracks. And what Lori didn't know is that I had collected all the broken pieces. She expected it was going to go in the trash, and she was really sad about that because this was an important memory piece for her, of her grandmother. But I took all the pieces and I got a bottle of super glue, and very carefully with tweezers and trying to put it back together again, trying to keep it from sticking to my fingers, I was able to glue it all back. You may have heard of the Japanese art of kintsugi. Kintsugi. And it's this idea, it means golden joinery. It's where they take a broken pot and they put it back together, and instead of super glue, they actually use gold. And it produces a pot that is more strong and even more beautiful than the one that was broken. And the Apostle Paul is telling us that the gospel that Jesus has is held and contained in us. That we are vessels that are like jars of clay. We're fragile. We are made of earth, and we are easily broken. Yet, God puts the gospel in us to prove that it is not from us. For something that is eternal and life-giving and of light could not have its origins in ourselves, but it must be from God himself. And so, because of this treasure that we carry, the Apostle Paul is reminding us that we might be facing struggles, we might be hard-pressed on every side, but we're not crushed. We might be perplexed, but we're not in despair. We might be persecuted, but we're not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be revealed in our body. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that his life also may be revealed in our mortal body. So then, death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. And it's one of these dialectic things. It's where two seemingly contradictory things actually are part of a whole truth. In that, yes, you are fragile. Your life on this earth is temporary. You have weaknesses to contend with. You are like a clay pot, and you are treasured. You are loved. You are more loved even than you can imagine, and God puts you together by God's grace so that you can convey a sense of glory and truth to those around you. So to our graduates and to all of you who are listening today, may you know this to be true, that you are loved, that God is crazy about you, that you have what it takes to succeed in this world and to give glory to God, and that no matter what, you are never beyond the reach of his love and grace. God bless you, graduates, as you move into your next phase of life. God bless all of us as we have a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you in church Sunday.